It is that time. What's going on, guys? It's me, ShadowEliteHD. Today, guys, I am joined by a couple of friends today. We are doing a Game of the Year for 2020 discussion. Joining us today, we have Hayden.
Hey, guys, what's up?
We also have Mr. JRPG himself, ShadowElite.
What up, guys? How's it going?
And we've got our good buddy Rabbit from Rabbit Sensei Gaming.
Hello, everyone. Long time no see.
So as you guys know, 2020 was an interesting year, so to speak. A lot of games came out this year. A lot of remasters came out this year. So we're just going to gather here today just to kind of discuss each of our top 3 games, and then we'll get into some honorable mentions later on. Games that we also enjoyed earlier this year but didn't quite make our top 3. Because, of course, this year had so many great games. And, yeah, if you guys are excited to hear us talk about all of our favorite games we played this year, leave a like for us. All links to their channels will be in the description as usual. And, Hayden, we'll get you to start us off. What is your number 3 game this year?
All right, so my number 3 game of the year is the game that I think a lot of people kind of associate with 2020, and that is Animal Crossing New Horizons. This game, what can we say that hasn't been said about Animal Crossing already? It came out at quite literally the perfect time when everyone was just starting to hunker down in the lockdown. It was very much a sense of comfort for a lot of people, and that was the same thing for me. I wasn't working at the time, so really I was just playing Animal Crossing all day, most of the night as well. Probably a little too late probably later than I should have been. But I just really found a lot of comfort in this game. It was awesome to be able to connect with friends, visit each other's islands, see everyone's creativity that was on display. There are, of course, some hiccups with the game, some quality of life stuff that is a little baffling that it's still not in there. Don't even remind me of the airport. The airport's kind of a nightmare. But when I think of 2020, I think of Animal Crossing, and it's a game that has kind of stuck with me all year. I've been coming back for all the updates. Besides the Easter update, which was kind of a swing and a miss at the beginning of the year, I think the game has had really good support, and I've just still enjoyed playing it even to this day.
All right. Shadow?
I'm going to go with Persona 5 Royal. I really enjoyed all the enhancements they made to Battle. The new story arc with Kasumi was really good. Unfortunately, it was mostly towards the end of the game, and honestly, I feel like Vanilla Persona 5 as is was good enough, but they decided to, I guess you can say, just tack this on or throw this on top of it, which it was great. Don't get me wrong, loved everything that happened at that little end epilogue chapter there. Got to play as 2 characters that you wanted to play it throughout the entire game, and that's really it. I can't really talk too much about Persona 5 Royal without spoiling it.
Yeah, I don't know, that is fair, especially since it technically already came out, but then Royal's just like an enhanced version of it with more content. It's pretty hard to talk about Royal without going into spoilers, but Rabbit, what's your... what was you saying?
I was just going to say, I heard there was some decent quality of life stuff. I haven't played Persona 5 myself, but I heard there was some quality of life stuff in there that people appreciated. Is that true?
Yeah. There's a lot. There's a lot that goes around. Like you start off with Blake, help me out. What's it called again? The tag thing?
Baton Pass. Yeah.
Baton Pass. Yeah. You start out with that. Morgana's not as much of a dick. He doesn't tell you to go to bed all the time.
That is something that I did notice. Like I was like, wait a second. I feel like I have way more time now.
Yeah. Exactly. And they have like a mini game room that you can utilize to listen to the music. Like to play some mini games. But that's really about it. Nothing really too special about it. Yeah, that's really it.
I'd say if you haven't played Persona 5 already, Royal is the definitive edition of the game.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right on. Nice.
All right. Rabbit, what is your number 3 game for this year?
Well, my number 3 game for this year is actually my favorite multiplayer experience from this year. I loved Resident Evil Resistance, the side game that came along with Resident Evil 3. Not Resident Evil 3 itself, but Resident Evil 3 and Resident Evil Resistance. I love that multiplayer so much. Had some fond memories just hanging out with you, Shadow, Trip, Fox. It was a good time. I laughed my head off. And it's just pretty much my third spot goes purely because of good memories associated with it. I just love playing it with everybody.
All right, that's absolutely fair.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. I actually, this was part of Resident Evil 3. I heard the Resident Evil 3 remake wasn't amazing, so I didn't pay too much attention to it. I got to play the Resident Evil 2 remake, and that was great last year. But I don't know much about the 3 remake. Resistance was part of it?
Resistance was technically a completely separate game that you got along free with Resident Evil 3's remake, so it was a separate game. But at the same time, you couldn't get unless you got Resident Evil 3 for some reason. They should have split it off and had it be its own separate thing, honestly.
Okay, interesting.
I think if they did split it off, that would have made people a little bit more happy. Because I think the main reason that Resident Evil 3 Remake launched at full price was because it came with Resistance. If they had split it and then say Resident Evil 3 was like $30 or $40 and then Resistance was like $20-$30, I think people would have been more happy with that. Like, because like Shadow said, Resistance or Resident Evil 3 remake rather, it's a great reimagining, but they cut out so much from like Vanilla 3 that it begs the question of how the development went. But when you look at like them bundling Resistance, it kind of makes sense why they kind of tried to tack it on a little bit there. But I like Resistance. Resistance is a fun game. It's a fun. If you like Resident Evil, like the gameplay of Resident Evil, and you like multiplayer experiences, Resistance is really good.
Yeah, right. And just don't bring up taxidermy ads like Trip did.
Oh dear Lord. You know, I'm debating whether I should find that clip and put it in this video, but yeah, I'm not gonna worry about that.
I still have it. I can give it to you.
Oh man. As for me, I played a large selection of games this year, but only like a small selection of 2020 games. Like I played Trails of Cold Steel 1 and 2, but obviously they didn't come out this year, so they don't qualify for my game of the year. That'd be a whole different discussion if I was factoring in games that I had played for the first time this year. But in terms of my number 3 game, I'm going to have to give it up to Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition. I haven't actually before Devil May Cry 5 Special, I had never played, or never completed rather, a Devil May Cry game. I dabbled a little bit in 1. One was alright. I never played 2 because everyone told me to avoid 2 with like the plague. Devil May Cry 3, I got a little ways into it and I really liked the gameplay. I just never went back to it, and then I never touched 4. 5 Special was something kind of like an impulse where I had gotten the new PlayStation 5 and I really wanted something to play on my PS5, so I kind of picked it up because of that, as well as I'd also really liked the music. Virgil's new theme here, Bury the Light, is one of my top songs this year, if not like favorite song this year. It's such a good song. The gameplay, really good. The story, really good. I'm sure that if I had played Devil May Cry 5 previously, I may not have liked it as much, because as far as I know, it's pretty much the same game up until you get to play as Virgil, essentially. The only thing they added was Legendary Dark Knight mode, which is like, imagine Dynasty Warriors on crack cocaine. And that mode is so much fun when you're Virgil, and so difficult if you're not. It's one of those things where that difficulty wasn't designed. It's like 200cc in Mario Kart 8. The game is not made for that game mode. Nice. They just kind of added it on, and the other characters aren't really built around it, whereas Virgil's kit in Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition covers a lot of area, so he can easily dispatch like tons of people at once. Whereas if you're playing something like Nero, he's got like really narrow sword swings, and then V, of course, his moves are even more like restricted. Like they're definitely designed for like one-on-one combat. Devil May Cry normally has been, like you focus on one enemy, combo, then you have to move on to the next one. But 5 Special, overall, really good game, and one that I would highly recommend to anyone with a next generation console. Easily.
I have played a little bit of Devil May Cry 5, the original release, and it's already a fantastic game. And I'm not really someone who's normally into action games like that, but I really liked it a lot from what little I played of it. And if this is just a better version, then yeah, I can get behind that.
I think a lot like Persona 5 Royal, it's kind of like the definitive edition of Devil May Cry 5. It's great if you've already played the game, even better if it's your first time experiencing it.
Right on.
All right, and now we'll move on to our top 2. Hayden, what's your second game for the year?
So this is a game, I might go on a little long with this, but I really feel I need to get the awareness out there about this game, because I don't think enough people know about it. So my number 2 is a little game called Phoenotopia Awakening. So this game has a bit of an interesting story to it. So as I understand it, way back in the Newgrounds days of like Flash animation and stuff there, this was a game that was made by a small group of people and put on there and got a very like passionate cult following. Back then it was called Phoenotopia. It got a full-on, like, I guess remake would be the word, but it's so distinguishably different from the original game. Like, it might as well be a new game. It was made by all the original devs, but, like, this game, they knocked it out of the park. And what this game is, if you ask me, it's Zelda 2 done right. Because I think Zelda 2 is a very interesting concept that is plagued by just so many problems inherent to the NES. But this game, like, seriously, the towns are just so huge to explore. The combat is amazing. The sense of exploration, like, I'm someone who loves when a game lets me kind of like, it gives me kind of a guidance as to what I need to do, but I'm totally free to kind of do whatever I want if I want to. And this game, like, takes exploration up to 11. Like, if you are curious about, like, oh, like, there's probably something up there. What's that all about? You can get up there, and there are probably multiple ways to do it. Like, it almost takes some of what made Breath of the Wild so amazing and the creativity you can do in that game, and almost fuses it with a Zelda 2 formula, with, side-scrolling towns, with an overhead world map. Like, the music was unreal. The story the story was pretty good. Had a few plot twists in there. Left on a bit of a cliffhanger. Phoenotopia Awakening. And this game, so I guess what happened was they had like a big publisher for this game. And I guess the publisher kind of like screwed them over and backed out like at the last minute. So there was like no marketing for this game at all. It came out in August. But oh my god, this game is so good. I was addicted to it.
Yeah, I've never heard of that one. What is it? Is it on console?
Steam version is supposed to be releasing by the end of the year, and this is a game too where the developers have been very transparent about like feedback and like updating. Like, I actually found a fairly major glitch when I first played through the game, and I submitted it to them, and then they were like, "Yep, thank you for letting us know. This will be included in the patch notes." This game was just awesome.
All right, I'll have to give that a look. See, so it's a Switch exclusive temporarily. Steam version coming later, and then other platforms later as well.
Yeah, the Steam version, they want to have it ready to go by the end of the year. And their Twitter account has shared a few updates that, like, yep, we're still on pace to get that done. But yeah, if you've ever been interested in the idea of Zelda 2, but just, don't want to play Zelda 2 because it's just not that great a game, this is absolutely the game that realizes that concept and goes so much farther with it. Like, I haven't had this much fun exploring in a game in a very long time.
All right, right on. I'll have to add that to my list for games I'm gonna play next year.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Shadow, you're up. What is your second most enjoyed game for 2020?
For this one, I'm definitely going to have to go with Legend of Heroes Trails of Cold Steel 4. An excellent ending to this series. This game was dubbed the End of Saga, and it definitely showed. It did a lot of things the same as Cold Steel 3. Not too much change. They gave us some new stuff here and there when it came to battle. The ability to put Master Quartz on pretty much your second slot, and everybody made for a lot of customization. Gave us more BP, or I believe it's called BP. Somebody's gonna kill me for that if I got it wrong. But it lets you do more strategy with those extra BP. You had a lot of characters to choose from, as it was the end of the game, so that may have had some balancing issues, but I think they balanced it perfectly because this is the end of the game, so you want to be able to use whatever character you want and not have to worry about if this boss is good against character A and B, but not good against C and D. So you could use C and D if you want. It don't matter. Just make sure your equipment is good to go. The game kind of maybe a little bit towards the end stumbled a little bit there because the game tried to have its cake and eat it too with having two endings, which both are probably canon. I'm not even sure. It's insane. But as far as spending time with these characters for like 600 hours and getting to that end, this was all worth the ride. Really long game. I clocked in at about maybe 120 hours. That's doing side stuff and whatnot, talking to every NPC at every major event. But it was all still worth it. I'm so glad I did not rush through the game to get out a review. And yeah, if you want to get into Legend of Heroes games, you really need to start from the beginning and work your way to this game. Which, still to this day, I don't know how a game company can make a game like this, where you absolutely need to play the previous entries to play this one. I mean, that kills sales and that kills, I guess, hype for the game in general. But yeah, looking forward to the Hajimari no Kizuki next year and whatever the future of the Legend of Heroes games have in store for us.
Yeah, Shadow and I cannot stress enough. Do not play and do not start with Trails of Cold Steel 3 or 4. You will be lost. One of our mutual friends, Riku, explained it to me as if you start with Trails of Cold Steel 3 or 4, it's akin to watching Avengers Endgame and never watching a Marvel film. You will not know what's happening. You will have no recollection of anything. You won't know any of these characters. These games are not standalone titles by any definition. Do not play these games out of order. Me personally, like I said, I played Cold Steel 1 and 2 earlier this year. But now I'm going back and playing Trails in the Sky, which is like the first games in the series. And then it's Trails of Zero and Trails of Azure. And then it's Trails of Cold Steel. So I'm kind of playing in like a backwards order, but from what I understand, a lot of people will commonly play Cold Steel 1 and 2 and then go back. But no spoilers, but at the end of Cold Steel 2, they really hit you in the face by saying you need to understand what's happening in this timeline if you want to progress, because the next game is going to hit you. And that post-credit scene, that the whole ending thing with the things that happen, that stuff sold me. I said, all right, I'm going to go back. I'm not going to play Cold Steel 3 and 4 until I do. Because, I mean...
Yeah. Well, with Cold Steel 3, there's actually a little bit of wiggle room for you to keep going. Just a little bit. Not that much. Yeah, you should... but for Cold Steel 4, the game does not care about your feelings. It will spoil things from the other Trails of games in the first 10 minutes. Alright, so... Definitely gotta play your games before you get to the latter half of the series.
It's like watching...
You gotta...
What's that, sorry?
You got to appreciate the games that can commit to that, have that strong of a commitment to a overarching story through multiple games, because we're in a very sequel obsessed industry where if it's going to sell better if we make another game, despite the sales or despite the story maybe suffering from it, they're going to do it. Like the example I always go back to is the Mega Man X series, which should have ended with X5 based on the story. And then they made X6 and X7, and those are horrible games in their own right, and then they don't make sense with the story anymore, which is why I respect the Mega Man Zero series for having an actual definitive end, and similar to what it sounds like with Trials of Cold Steel, that you need to, do not start with the third one, even though that's the best one. Play 1 and 2, get the story, you'll understand and appreciate 3 and 4 so much more.
Along with the rest of the games. You really got to play the rest of the games to even play the fourth game.
Oh yeah. I mean, like, a lot of people kind of don't know that it's a trail. It's the Trail series, not the Cold Steel series. Because I think Cold Steel's the most popular one out of all of them.
Yeah.
People are like, oh, Cold Steel 1, 2, 3, and 4. I can just play all these games. No, you sweet summer child, you cannot. You got to go back. And technically, if you're a casual fan, Trails of Azure and Trails of Zero have never even come to North America. Those are still Japan exclusive. There's a patch for them if you have a computer, but that's the only way to play them. So they're really not doing themselves any favors here.
Absolutely not. I'm banking on the Crossbow games coming next year in English. This will be the last year that I wish on it. But yeah, you really gotta do your research on this. Aren't
the Crossbow games on Switch in Singapore now? But like an
English
sub?
Yeah, they have those. I don't know why they won't bring them over, but Hey, it is what it is.
I say I wouldn't be surprised if Falcom tries to bring over those games so that they can better inform people about that specific game.
They really should. And like Hayden, I just want to touch on what Hayden was saying. There's not many series that are dedicated to this sort of overarching plot. Like, for most of the time, people ask me, "Oh, do I have to play the previous Trails games to play this one? Do I have to play the other Final Fantasies to play this one?" It's always no, not at all. No need. Just jump into this one. Here, you can't do that at all. And this is the only series I know that really does it to such an extent. And I appreciate it for it. But like I said, the company, developers, publishers, they got balls doing it because that's a hard sell.
Yep.
Maintaining like a fan base for that throughout, because like it is really difficult to like keep attention through all that. I mean, like if you're a hardcore fan, you're a hardcore fan. But yeah, like very rarely. Like imagine if all the Final Fantasy games were connected and we were like 16 games in now. Like people would never buy a new Final Fantasy game. They'd be so lost. I mean, as much as I hate the naming schemes of like Final Fantasy 10, 10-2, Final Fantasy 13, 13-2, I mean, it makes sense for why they do it that way, to keep it within that timeline. And I mean, it's funny, we're talking about games that like keep the story going. Kingdom Hearts is famous for this. And people jumped in with Kingdom Hearts 3, and I was like, why would you do that to yourself? You really shouldn't have done that with yourself. I know people famously will love to say, "Oh, hey, Kingdom Hearts 3 is like a great like Disney game, and I love Disney." I'm like, "Okay, you like Disney, but do you know about Xehanort? Do you know the Darkness? Do you have a nobody? Do any of these words make sense to you?"
That's probably why I will never get into it. Unfortunately, love Disney, but that's just too much of a commitment for me these days.
Honestly, and this is just coming from me. I recommend people go on YouTube. Everything you need to know before Kingdom Hearts 3. Watch that 30-minute video and play 3. 3 is a very fun game. 3 is a great game. 3 and 2 are my two favorites. I love those games. And if you like Disney, they're great. But like, if you don't have time to sit down and commit to like all the side games for Kingdom Hearts, because it's a long commitment.
Yeah, there's like a mobile game or something that's canon.
Yeah, the mobile game's canon.
So,
Absolutely. Yep.
yeah. So yeah, exactly.
The new Rhythm game's also canon.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I personally, I'm done with Kingdom Hearts. I don't want to see anything else on Kingdom Hearts.
All right, so we got him on clip here, guys. Come back to this video when they announce Kingdom Hearts 4 and you see Shadow pick up like 3 copies. Just hold him to his word, guys.
Definitely not me. Oh man.
All right, I think we rambled enough. Rabbit, you've been awfully quiet over there, my man. What's your number 2 pick for this year?
Well, I didn't want to interrupt, the new Falcom podcast right here. I didn't want to interrupt. It was fun. But, I mean, I can't say anything about Trails. I'm still working on East, but...
That's fair.
Anyhow, my number 2 game for this year, believe it or not, Spelunky 2.
Nice.
That game, I was not expecting it to be as good as it was. I was expecting it to be like Spelunky 1, but a little bit lesser because they tried to be too ambitious with it. No, it surpasses Spelunky 1 and then some. It is by far the best gameplay mechanically out of all the games I've played this year, bar none. And I mean, I've played things such as, I've played the Tony Hawk Pro Skater remake, I've played Ghost of Tsushima, all this different stuff out there that's really well made and controls well. Spelunky 2 is better. Spelunky 2 is just straight up better.
No, I respect that choice a lot. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. This is a game that just kind of fell through the cracks for me, but I really do want to play it.
Yeah, and thing is, Spelunky 2 isn't done yet. It came out, and the single-player experience has been great, but apparently sometime this month, the online multiplayer cross-platform update is supposed to drop for PC, to where PC and PS4 players can interact with each other online as well. So, there's going to be co-op shenanigans galore, and let me just tell you, there is 3 different endings to this game. I have only gotten 1. Because if you want to get 3 different endings, second ending, not that rough. It's still tough. It's like classic Nintendo secrets type of things. Go on Game FAQ, find it out. Or just pay attention. But the true ending, my God, that will take you hours to get. And you have to do it all in one life.
Oh, man.
Wait, it's one life?
Yes, it's a roguelike. Every time you start over, everything is square one, but you never feel ripped off because you always start out with all the tools you need to win. And it's just a good time, a lot of fun. I've played, I don't know how many streams of it. I think I just did my 12th session of Spelunky, and my sessions are about 2 hours long. So I'm still playing it. I'm playing it on my off time, whenever I have a free moment, whenever I'm waiting for videos to render, so on and so forth. It is just such a good game. And I'm impressed that they said, hey, we're going to give you the same type of game, but we're going to make it better. And they actually came through on that promise.
This is like one of those. I feel like there were a lot of games this year that came out where they were reviewed positively, but there was a lot of divisiveness with the fan base. I think of Last of Us 2. I think of, to some extent, the Final Fantasy VII remake, stuff like that. But Spelunky seemed to have reviewed well and also sat very well with the fans.
Yeah, it brought in just enough new stuff to make it feel fresh, such as mounts and stuff like that. You could find brand new secrets, new items, as well as a few new bosses. But in the end, it still felt like Spelunky, just with better control, I guess is the way to put it. And the first game controlled like butter, so this is the fact that it controls better now in Spelunky 2. Chef's kiss, just chef's kiss. It's a good game. If you haven't tried it, you're missing out.
So,
Awesome.
Would you say that Spelunky 2, like, textbook does everything a sequel should?
Absolutely. No doubt in my mind.
And would you say that people should still play Spelunky 1 or just go right to 2?
Honestly, they can do whatever they want with it because Spelunky 1, Spelunky 2, the stories, yeah, they're related, but at the same time, Spelunky 2 is a brand new starting point. You don't need to play Spelunky 1 to understand what you're doing in Spelunky 2.
All right. I know my little brother loved playing Spelunky 1. Me and him did a little bit of co-op at one point. And I just remember him showing me some of the mod support. I think he modded his main character to be like Sonic, like the Sonic 3 sprite. And he had like Tails running around with him, and I was like, this is so cool. Because it's one of those like 8-bit style games where you can really like mod in like any 2D sprite, and it works with the game. Like you can get like Simon Belmont in there, like from like the SNES titles, get like Mario from Mario Bros. 3 in there, Mega Man. Like it's because of that art style you can really show your creative freedom with that. And I haven't looked too deeply into Spelunky 2's mods, but I'm hoping that Spelunky 2 still has that same sort of creative modding community.
Oh, it most certainly will. It's not active yet because people are still trying to figure out all the secrets in the game. Yes, the game's been out for over 2 months, and they haven't found out every secret yet.
Ooh.
So there's a lot of stuff.
I like.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to love about it. It is a good game. Be it modded or vanilla, you're going to have an amazing time.
All right. And then moving on to my second pick this year. So this might surprise a lot of people. But my number 2 pick this year is actually Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. And I was torn on if I wanted to make this my game of the year, but ultimately I made it my number 2 slot. So let me just explain to you what Dragon Ball Z Kakarot is. So we've had a lot of Dragon Ball games over the last couple of years. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. If you played like Dragon Ball Z, like Budokai Tenkaichi, like stuff like the Tenkaichi series growing up, Kakarot has that same sort of flair for storytelling like those games did. It encompasses everything from the first episode of Dragon Ball Z all the way up to the end of the Buu saga. So basically, the more popular arcs of the Dragon Ball Z series. And then through the DLC, they also have Battle of the Gods and the Resurrection F movie adapted to the game as well. These games are, I think it was called Legacy of Goku, I think is what people would compare them to, but like you got like this big open world you explore as Goku. You can fly around because you're saying like a Nimbus. Different like little side missions here and there with iconic Dragon Ball characters like Launch, like Tao Pai Pai, stuff like that. Like characters that we hadn't seen like in the actual anime or the manga for quite some time. It's if you're a big fan of Dragon Ball, it does a whole lot for you for like the smaller things here and there. And throughout the entire game, you find like little like references and Easter eggs to the original like Dragon Ball, like before Dragon Ball Z. Like they talk about like King Piccolo, or like when Krillin, Bulma, and Goku were like trapped in that cave, or stuff like that. Honestly, I would say Dragon Ball Z Kakarot is probably one of the best Dragon Ball games, if not like my favorite Dragon Ball game in the series. I know a lot of people say that Fighters is the best one, and I can't dispute that. Fighters is really good, but I think from a single player or casual standpoint, I think Kakarot beats out Fighters in that regard. In terms of multiplayer, Flash, and like just like party games, no, there's no competition. Fighters beats that easily. Fighters has got such an iconic roster when it comes to Dragon Ball. But Kakarot overall, I sunk over 200 hours into it. I ended up getting the Platinum Trophy on my PlayStation. I basically did everything I possibly could, maxed out all my characters. It was the first Dragon Ball game I had ever sunk my teeth into to that extent. Because I played the Tenkaichi games when I was younger, but I never necessarily did like the story modes in them. It was always me playing like with my brothers or my cousins, just messing around with those. And whereas Kakarot set out to be a massive single-player experience, I think it did a really good job of retelling all the events of the anime. Essentially, it's mind-boggling that with technology we're to a point now where we can make a game that looks almost not one-to-one with the anime, but just it looks so fantastic. Their big selling point for this game was you've watched the anime, now play it, and that could not be any closer to the truth than it already is. If you like Dragon Ball, if you like the gameplay is very similar to the Xenoverse games, so I'd say if you're on the fence about it, try the Xenoverse games at first, because it's still that same sort of you have your different attacks mapped to your thumb buttons, and then like you have like your control stick and you can fly around and stuff. So I think Kakarot's using a modified version of that engine, but it's also by CyberConnect 2. So actually the people who did the Ninja Storm games, that was the first inclination that I knew I wanted to pick up this game, because I love the Ninja Storm games, and I think Kakarot is another fantastic addition to the anime game library.
Man, I forgot this game came out this year because it came out before the pandemic.
Yeah, that too. I actually forgot this game came out too, and I was looking back at games, I was like, oh shoot, this game came out at the beginning of the year. Oh dang, alright, cool.
Yeah, no, this game was talk of the town for a few minutes, in terms of the internet at least, a few minutes for the internet. No, I'm a very casual Dragon Ball fan. I watched the anime way back in the day when it was, on like YTV and stuff. But I never really kept up with it that much. But I do appreciate what this game has done. Like you said, really recreating and giving you a chance to play through the most iconic moments in the Dragon Ball Z anime there. It really does look like a Dragon Ball fan's wet dream, to put it, gracefully.
Oh no, absolutely. It would have been my game of the year, but my game of the year just inched it out by like 2%. And we'll get into that a little bit later. But in short, if you guys are big Dragon Ball fans, I know one gripe from Dragon Ball veterans, people who are older now who did grow up playing the Tenkaichi games, is that there's also like a negative stigma around the plot of Dragon Ball Z, like how it's been done to death. I would say though that Kakarot is probably the definitive way to play through the Dragon Ball Z story, at least currently.
Nice.
All right, we are now going to move on to our honorable mentions. So we don't even have like a specific number. Just if there's a game you played this year that kind of stood out to you and you just want to give it a shout out, by all means. If you want to do 1, if you want to do 8, that's fine. We will kick it off with Hayden.
So there's 2 games in particular that I do want to give an honorable mention to. I'll try to make these quick, but the first of which is Paper Mario: The Origami King. This is a game that this might be a bit of a controversial choice, but and I am someone who does love the original Paper Mario formula, and I also really enjoyed Color Splash on Wii U. I'm one of the few people that played it, and one of the even less few people that enjoyed it. But Origami King is awesome. I mean, it's a funny, whimsical game. The music, I think this game got totally snubbed for the Game Awards in terms of the best music, because it's amazing, way better than it deserves to be. The art style is just gorgeous. They're really capturing, the essence of like the paper aesthetic. Like, it looks like everything in that game is something you could make for real. And I don't want to spoil it in case anyone wants to play it or is listening and wants to play it, but that moment, and anyone who's played it knows the moment I'm talking about, is genuinely one of the most... I don't even want to use a word to describe it. I just can't believe that moment happened. So yeah, the other game I want to shout out, though, is Streets of Rage 4. This game, I am not into beat-em-up games at all. I played some of the old TMNT games. I played Battletoads. I played Streets of Rage 2 before, but they never really did much for me. This game addicted me. I was totally hooked. Everything just felt right. The soundtrack was amazing. It has like a comic book art style to it, which feels very, very right for the series. That's probably my biggest surprise for the year. I really didn't expect to enjoy a beat 'em up quite as much as I did. But yes, so Streets of Rage 4 was fantastic, and those are my two shoutouts I wanted to give.
Really quickly, like going back to Paper Mario, is the scene you're talking about the scene I think it is with the bomb?
Yes.
Okay, that's all you had to say. All right, Shadow, give us your runner-ups.
I only have one, to be honest. I only got Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. I really appreciate the upgrades they did for that game. The character models all look amazing. The quality of life changes. Oh my god, that map makes an entirely new game in and of itself. Because Xenoblade games have trouble with navigation and showing you what stuff is. This map really just this new map revamped everything, and now it's just a pleasure to do all these fetch quests, which is pretty much all that Xenoblade pretty much has. Just go here, kill that, go here, gather that, and it was pretty cool to do all that with the improved map. Everything else is pretty much the same. It's pretty much the same game throughout. We did get an extra epilogue sort of chapter, which I felt was okay. It took me a while to beat it, but it was okay at the end of the day. I didn't really need it. I could take it or leave it. But as far as the rest of the game goes, for a remaster, I think it's a remaster. Could be a remake. I don't even know. But it's really, really good. And if any game's going to come back from back in the day and do, they should really do how Xenoblade Chronicles did it. I'm sorry, I can't talk. But just Xenoblade Chronicles. But I will also give a shout out to Street of Rage as well. That one was a good one. Street of Rage was part of my childhood growing up. It's one of the first games I ever played as a kid. I have fond memories, just like not playing hooky, like faking sick, and then just playing the game at home with my dad. But Street of Rage really showed off a lot, and loved the style, loved the combat, and especially the comic book style that they did for it. It was really good. But
Hell yes. I got a comment on both of those. So Xenoblade, I also played Definitive Edition this year. But unlike you, it sounds like I actually didn't play the original. I played Xenoblade X and I played Xenoblade 2, but I'd never played the original. But even coming from Xenoblade 2 to Xenoblade Definitive Edition, the map was definitely better than what it was in Xenoblade 2. The fetch quests, I agree. They were no muss, no fuss. They were really easy to get done, and the story in Xenoblade was fantastic. Definitely caught me off guard a few times, and I'm glad someone else in this call played Streets of Rage 4, because that game really is fantastic, and I think is slept on a little bit because there are a lot of big games that came out this year.
I'm gonna be real with you. I played Streets of Rage 4 online with some friends through Parsec. I had a lot of fun with it, but it's definitely what you say. A lot of big games came out this year, and I actually completely forgot that I had played that this year.
I gotta ask really quick, who is your favorite character to play as in Streets of Rage 4?
Oh, shoot. Oh, man, you're putting me on the spot.
I picked Blaze.
Blaze is fun. She would be my number 2. Adam Hunter is my number 1. For some reason, I just really love his kind of all-around nature, but also his ability to kind of move well in the air. But Blaze is definitely my number 2.
See, I want to say Axel, but what's the name of the big black guy? Floyd?
Floyd, yes.
Yeah, Floyd. He was one that I played the whole time, bro. Picking up people, smashing them around, bro. I love that man. I loved everything about him.
Streets of Rage 4 actually resonated with me so much that I would actually love to see Axel Stone get into Smash now.
Oh, man. I hadn't even thought about that.
Inclusion. Yeah, it probably won't happen. I mean, we've only got 4 characters left, and I won't get into Smash speculation here, but yeah, really enjoyed Streets of Rage 4.
I mean,
Would have been a better pick than Steve.
We ain't gonna have this conversation right now. No, I can definitely see at the very least I can see Streets of Rage like me costumes, like a whole like set of them. Maybe like if we get like maybe we get like a Tekken character in the game, throw Streets of Rage costumes in there.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah,
especially because Streets of Rage was just so popular. But yeah, Rabbit, what are your runner-ups for Game of the Year?
I actually have 2, and it was really hard for me not to pick a remaster or a remake because I was putting those rules on myself: no remasters or remakes. So for me, and in no particular order, my runners-up are Ghost of Tsushima because I've been playing through that here recently. Just the normal story, the Legends mode as well. It's just a really fun time. I've been loving it. The story is really good, and just it's nice having stealth gameplay back again in a way that's actually feels natural and doesn't feel tacked on. Because you could choose to be either stealthy or aggressive. It's just nice to have that. And I would be lying if I didn't say, holy crap, the way they did the world in that's just real nice. But yes, my other honorable mention would be Phasmophobia. That game was a sleeper hit. No one knew it was coming out. It just sort of happened. Everybody loved it. It was wonky as hell at first, but just it's so much fun playing detective. So much fun playing detective in that game.
And isn't that game actually in pre-release right now?
Yes, it's still technically in early access. They just released a prison map on the beta version of it.
Wow, yeah, I see this game on like YouTube thumbnails all the time. So yeah, I have to check it out because I really don't know much about it.
Yeah, it's a really fun game. Pretty much, long story short, you and possibly a team of your friends, you're going into a destination with these tools. You got to figure out what ghost is haunting the area based off of the evidence you get from those tools. Lock it in, get out, get your money. That's what it is. You're playing Ghost Detective. And
Nice.
it's just a fun time. Especially when you're like me and, you lock the person who's streaming behind a door with the ghost and listen and go, you killed me, you murdered me.
Love it.
Yeah, I've been meaning to get around to trying that game myself. Another like honorable
team up.
After that description you just gave me, not likely. But another game. I know it didn't come out this year, but a lot of people got into it this year. Another like special honor mention would be like Among Us. That's one of those games. It came out in 2018 and no one played it. I think it was basically on life support earlier in the year, and then some big streamers picked it up and then basically got the word out about it, and it's been super popular. Apparently, it's qualifying for this year's Game Awards. That's kind of weird, but I think it's just because it really didn't have a launch the last 2 years, and this is the year that like it really like officially took off, I guess. So Among Us was going to kick off my honorable mentions, despite the fact it didn't come out this year. I still really loved it. I put so many hours into it. It's such a good game for you and some friends just to get together and act sus, literally. All right, so just getting to my list of honorable mentions. I have a few. By a few, I mean like I've got like 6.
Jesus Christ, man.
Okay, listen. I had a hard time making my list too. All right, and I'm just gonna kind of name these off and then talk a little bit about each of them. So Warriors of Orochi 4 Ultimate came out earlier this year. Another remake / remaster. It's essentially the original Warriors of Orochi 4, but it's got extra content to it, kind of like in the same vein as Persona and Xenoblade. Warriors of Orochi 4 is basically you take Dynasty Warriors, Samurai Warriors, Ninja Gaiden. Is it Samurai Warriors, Dynasty Warriors, Ninja Gaiden? I feel there's something else I'm missing. That's like the big.
A little bit of Bladestorm, maybe.
Which one?
Bladestorm, maybe.
Maybe. I know the previous game, Warriors of Orochi 3, just had a lot of it even had Atelier characters in it. It was just basically a Koei Tecmo mosh pit of characters. It's absolutely amazing. If you like warrior styled games, Warriors of Orochi 4 definitely an amazing hit. The story's pretty simple, but the gameplay is great. They've got over 183 playable unique characters. Something Fire Emblem Warriors couldn't even manage 20 of, but we're not going to get into that here. After Warriors of Orochi, I also played Pokemon Mystery Dungeon DX. That's actually the first time I've ever actually completed the main game of a Mystery Dungeon game personally.
Yes, sir.
Mystery Dungeon DX, great game. Fantastic game. My only gripe is that there wasn't, like, Pokemon for... I guess my only gripe is that it's a remake and not, like, a new game. Like, I think I would have enjoyed a new Mystery Dungeon game with, like, Generation 7 Pokemon in it. I think it's way too soon for a Mystery Dungeon game with Generation 7 Pokemon in it. Or Generation 8, sorry. Generation 7's old. But no, Mystery Dungeon was great. The story was really fun. I had a good time going through it, fighting legendary Pokemon. It was everything Mystery Dungeon's good at. It was great. Animal Crossing is on my honorable mentions list. I loved this game, but I regret to inform everyone that as soon as Xenoblade came out in May, that's basically when I heavily fell off it, and I just kind of played it casually every now and then. Even now, I haven't opened up my island in like 2 months, and I'm afraid to see what my villagers are doing. But I'm probably going to be doing that here sometime in the next week or two because of the new updates that are coming out. I need to get up on that, get my island all ready for the holidays. Persona 5 The Royal, solid game like we touched on earlier. The definitive way to play it. Really good. Resident Evil 3 is a game I played this year. I wouldn't consider it a contender for Game of the Year. It's just overall a fun time. Xenoblade. Ooh, I am a huge fan of the Xenoblade Chronicles series. My first one was Xenoblade Chronicles on the Wii. That's when I fell in love with the series. It was like... That was actually... if we don't count Pokemon, that was the first JRPG I ever played. And
wow.
I had never played Final Fantasy, never played anything else. It's never played Kingdom Hearts. Like that was the first JRPG I ever played, and it left such an impression on me. When I think that game made me cry a number of times. I'd never felt that type of emotion from a video game before. And then, funnily enough, the next JRPG I played after that was Persona 3. And that game was just a completely different temperature altogether. But Xenoblade set me down the path of JRPGs. I loved the original Xenoblade. I shortly played Chronicles X after when it had come out earlier. I basically got a Wii U for Xenoblade and Smash Bros. That's the only games I wanted on my Wii U at the time when I got it. And Chronicles X was such a good game as well, but I'm not going to get into that here. Just in general, if you are new to Xenoblade, pick up Definitive Edition. It is the best place to get into. After that, swing on over to Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Hopefully by the time you've played both of those games, there'll be word of Xenoblade Chronicles X coming to the Switch. Just please, Nintendo. So to move on from that, Minecraft Dungeons came out this year, which is like Minecraft cross Diablo. That one I actually liked a lot more than I thought I would. I've never gotten around to playing Diablo proper yet. I plan to get into that sometime next year before Diablo 4 comes out. And it's just a fun time overall. Like it's absolutely amazing. Just to see like this sort of idea. It's basically like a baby's first Diablo. Super fun and relaxed to play with like friends of all ages. It's really fun if you like Minecraft. And then the last game on my honorable mentions is Mobile Suit Gundam Maxi Boost On. Now this game, I'm not gonna, I promise I won't rant too long about this game, but let me tell you guys, if you guys are fans of the Gundam franchise, the Gundam Versus series is some of the best Gundam games you will come across. They are so much fun. They're arena fighters, and not in the same vein as say Jump Force or Ninja Storm. No. They are competitive arena fighters. So each Gundam has like its own moveset. They've all got like not pretty high. I'd say it's easy to get into, difficult to master. Rabbit can attest to that. There's so much going on with Maxi Boost, and there's so many different characters. It's like you can play suits that you like just from their animes, or you can play suits that you like just you've never even seen their animes. Like, there's been a few suits in the game that I actually never watched the animes for. Like I hadn't seen Stardust Memories up to that point, but like playing like the GPO 3. It's a really good game, and it's like high ranking in my top anime games. And that's it for my honorable mentions. So now we're going to get into everyone's game of the year. All right, Hayden. I think I have an idea of what your game of the year is, but I'm gonna hold my breath until I hear what it actually is.
Okay. So this game, of course, a lot came out this year, and I was afraid I wasn't going to have time to play this. So glad that I did, because this game, basically, if you want to win my game of the year, there's one big thing that you need to do, and that's make me cry. and this game did this to me multiple times. I am talking about Ori and the Will of the Wisps. This game, holy mackerel! Like, I think there's definitely some divide in the fan base as to whether they like. I think both games are regarded as amazing, Blind Forest and Will of the Wisps. But there is kind of a divide between the community as to which one is better. While I don't think Will of the Wisps is better in every regard, I think overall it is the better game. The combat was just so much more impactful. That was kind of my main complaint with Ori and the Blind Forest, was the combat was kind of weak. But the combat was so much better, so much more diverse. You had so many more options, so many optional weapons that you can get and ways to combat enemies. The story, like, it didn't just make me emotional once. I can think of 3 different times in the story where I got just overwhelmed with emotions. The art style is just beautiful. You could take a screenshot of literally anywhere in this game, and it could be just like you could hang it up in a museum. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's very fluid from cutscene to gameplay. Like, oh my god, this game is just beautiful in every way, and the soundtrack. Don't even get me started on the soundtrack. Like, Moon Studios, sorry, just like, they have really done something special with the Ori series, and from beginning to end, I really did not have any complaints. Like, maybe, like, I guess the escape sequences, which were very iconic to Ori and the Blind Forest, they weren't as memorable this time just because they were a bit easier than Blind Forest and maybe a bit shorter as well. But, like, on the whole, man, this game just knocked my socks off. I loved this game to death. And as soon as I finished it, I knew it was my game of the year.
I from when I didn't hear you mention Ori in your honorable mentions nor your top 3, I was like, it's got to be Ori. It's got to be Ori.
Nice.
I remember seeing you post all about it, and it's on my to playlist. And I heard that the Switch version, was it Ori and the Blind Forest was the first one? I heard the Switch version was really good, and sometimes it even performed better than the Xbox version, which I was like, whoa, that's insane.
Oh, yeah, like they nailed it. Both games run amazingly on Switch. 60 frames per second, looks basically indistinguishable from the Xbox version, both of them. Like, they nailed it.
My only thing is, like, so I could get it on Switch, because it's only like $25 on Switch or something like that. It's not pricey.
Yeah, $25.
But see, I have it on Game Pass, so I have it on my PC and my Xbox. But I'm like, do I want to fork out the extra cash to be able to lay down in bed and play it on my Switch? Or do I just want to play? Because in all honesty, I'm not a big fan of playing games on my Xbox. I just find it kind of clunky and not as enjoyable. So I might do it for that sole reason alone. But that game, that game looks so good, and I think I'm really gonna try to get into it sometime next year.
My personal recommendation, and this is just the way I play games. I don't really play my Switch handheld that much, but this was a game that, like, I made sure that I played it at night in the dark, like, no lights on, just so I could, like, only see just the beauty of this game on my TV. And again, some people just prefer playing games handheld. That's not me personally, but I think that really added to the experience for me. It helped me really immerse myself in the game.
Yeah, I hadn't thought to do that, actually, to be able, like, to play a game in the dark. I hadn't done anything like that in a while. But no, you make a really valid point. Like, when you play a game in the dark, you really do notice a lot more with the game. And it just seems like, Ori just seems like that type of game where, like, you play, like, you set the atmosphere, like, you turn all the lights, you just relax. Like Hayden said, we don't typically recommend this because you can damage your eyes that way. But at the same, like, not for a long experience of time, of course. But for something like that sounds like something like, I can almost imagine, like, a kid playing, like, under his covers with, like, a game like that. Like, it's got that type of magic and flair to it.
Oh, for sure. And we were talking earlier, too, about how Splunky 2 was very much what a sequel should be. And I think I can apply that same praise to Will of the Wisps. Like, again, it might not be better in every single regard, but it's not worse enough in any regard for it to be a big problem, I think. This game just goes above and beyond. They nailed it.
I'll definitely have to give it a look. But yeah. Hey, was that all your game of the year? 100%.
Yep, 100%, and I 100%ed it as well. I did. There's still a few achievements in there, but in terms of the content of the game, I 100%ed this, no doubt.
All right, Mr. JRPG, what is your game of the year, and why is it Yakuza Like a Dragon? Go.
Let me tell you why it's Yakuza Like a Dragon. All right, listen, man. This game is hot doodle butter, but it's not hot doodle butter. But I'm just joking. But my game of the year is easily Final Fantasy VII Remake. Final Fantasy on the original PlayStation, Final Fantasy VII original PlayStation was one of my favorite games of all time. Actually, it is my favorite JRPG of all time. And this remake had a lot going, had a lot of hype before its release, and I had a lot of hopes for it. And I was hoping that Square Enix wouldn't mess it up, because Square Enix, they've been a little iffy since like before this game was released. I mean, we go all the way back to Final Fantasy 13. I didn't think that game was that great. Final Fantasy 14 launched a buggy mess. They had to re-release that entire game. And yeah, it's one of the best MMOs out right now. But still, let's not forget where that game was to where it is now. And then Final Fantasy 15, in my opinion, a total and complete and utter train wreck of a game. I don't care how much they update it now. It's still, when I played it back in 2016, it was a dumpster fire, for lack of a better word. But Square Enix finally came through with Final Fantasy VII Remake. They had to. This game had to succeed. And, well, I guess it did commercially. But for me personally, it also had to. Because if it didn't, oh, man, I'd be singing a different tune right now. I don't think I'd be here right now. But, yeah. So this game changed up the combat systems. No longer turn-based. It's action, and it's better forward. Actually, it's a mixture between action and turn-based, if you ask me. And they blended it together so well. It's like you're playing an action game, but you're also controlling everybody, able to switch on the fly. So it's not like you're using one character or button mashing one character. No, you have to use all three party members like at the same time. And it's so good. It blended together so well. Graphics, absolutely phenomenal. Character models are great. Those backdrops and skylines, they look a little spooky, but you know, I'm gonna let that slide because the game runs so well on a PS4, base PS4 at that. And even in battle, when there's a lot of stuff happening on screen, still holds up. They did a lot of things with the ending. A lot of people are gonna probably be in between with the ending. They're gonna love it or hate it. But I love what they did with the ending. Gives me something to look forward to in the next part of Final Fantasy VII Remake. It really leaves it open-ended because they can literally have another 2 games or they can have another 1 game. Some characters are alive and some characters aren't. So we'll see what happens there. But Final Fantasy VII Remake really went above and beyond, especially with the nostalgia. Kept some things in there that I love. Wall Market, I believe that's what it's called, was recreated phenomenally. There was a part when you rushed the Sinra building and you had the choice between going in guns blazing or taking the stairs. I honestly thought they were going to take that part out. I decided to see what would happen. I took the stairs, and they literally had me running up 100 flights of stairs, just like in the original version. I love that. Thank God they didn't take that part out. But yeah, I didn't 100% it, and I didn't play the game on hard, primarily because I'm waiting for that PC release so I can play it at glorious 1080p, 60 FPS. Hopefully by the time that comes out, I'll upgrade my PC, so I'll be playing at 140p at least, 60 FPS, or maybe 120 FPS. But we'll see there. But yeah, Final Fantasy VII Remake, I thought it was the best game to release this year.
Now,
Man,
not to cut you off, Hayden. Just to play a devil's advocate there. So I know FF7 Remake has been in development for a long time. Would you say that it's worth the wait?
Worth the wait to play it on PC?
Worth the wait to, like, from when they announced that game. They announced that game that was like back when the PS2 was
yeah. Oh yeah, definitely worth the wait. Absolutely was worth the wait.
Would you wait that long again for the second part of the game?
I mean, I wouldn't have a choice, but I don't plan on going anywhere. God willing, I'll still be around in 5 years. So, hey, it is what it is.
That's actually part of the reason why I haven't played this. So the original Final Fantasy VII, I played that when I was a youngin, and that game, I didn't know about the big thing in Final Fantasy VII going into it.
Really?
So I was, God, I would have been like, I think 11 at that point. And this was, I wasn't much. We didn't have internet at my place. We just had Final Fantasy VII, so I was like, all right, my dad's PlayStation, so I was like, all right, let's play this. Did not know about the big thing, so that really caught me off guard. But yeah, Final Fantasy VII is a very holds a very special place in my heart. It's not my favorite Final Fantasy game. I do want to, of course, play the remake the whole way through, but I am kind of at this point waiting for there's going to be kind of a revamped version of it on the PS5.
Oh, absolutely.
Pretty much has to be. So I'm kind of just waiting for that at this point. But yeah, looks amazing.
Yeah, I think FF7 remake right now is actually one of the games that's PS5 enhanced. It's part of like the top 100 PS4 games, and I believe it runs at Shao, do you know if it ran at 60 frames on the base model PS4?
I'm gonna say no, not really. It might have did above 30 frames, but I don't know. I saw like 60 FPS.
Okay, because I just know that the PS5 version of the game is a locked 60.
Yeah, it may have fluctuated between like 35 to 40 frames, probably, on a base PS4.
Okay, yeah, but no, my brother really likes the FF7 remake as well. I've been told that if I play Crisis Core, I'll get more out of it.
Oh yeah,
because I think Crisis Core is a prequel to 7, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So and that's a PSP. I'm surprised they haven't ported Crisis Core to like a remaster of Crisis Core like they did for FF8, like in that same vein where they like touch up the models a little bit and bring it over. I'm surprised they haven't.
Probably, yeah. That's probably the next thing that they're gonna do. Probably.
What's the other one? Dirge of Cerberus, is that the other one?
Yeah, we don't talk about that game.
Oh no? Oh, okay. Never mind then.
Well, what game? I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay, all right. No, excuse me. Oh, all right. Rabbit, what's your game of the year looking like this year?
My game of the year is actually a game that went under a lot of people's radar, but I really think it shouldn't have. My favorite game of this year was the new Soccer Wars that came out. That game, all right, I'm going to preface it like this. The gameplay itself, whenever it comes to the combat, simple. You still need a bit of skill to succeed at it, but it's fun. The main plot is it's an anime story through and through. It is a 90s anime story all the way through it. The game itself, it focuses on, not really the combat that much, but the storytelling all the way through. And the main thing that makes this my game of the year is the fact that I have not had a game make me feel so attached to characters, fictional characters, as this one has done since the Dot Hack series. And as you know, that is my favorite game franchise of all time, the Dot Hack franchise. So, let me just say the character development for each character, just like in an anime you might watch, they all get their own unique arc. Every character, and you just go through. You learn more about them. You talk to them. You interact with them. There's branching dialogue choices that you can have that you don't just get to sit there and go, what do I do if I do this one or this one or this one? No, you have a timer. You have to pick your answer real quick. And sometimes not answering is an answer. So it's got all these variables to it. The main story beats will still be the same. But the story is just the stage for the characters. The characters are essentially, they are what it's all about. And the character development in it is just so good. I don't really want to say much about it because I feel I will ruin it if I say too much. I feel like I will spoil the game. It is that good. To the point where I don't want to say anything.
Yeah, I have never actually played a Soccer Wars game. That being said, I've played stuff like Project Cross Zone, where they have like Soccer Wars characters in them, and I've like met them through that. But Sakura Wars is that game that's like it's like a dating simulator, but like there's mechs and is it turn based? Is that am I thinking of the same game?
The original games were turn-based strategies, and yet there is a little bit of dating simulation in it, but is more focused on being character-driven than that aspect. That's in there, yeah. You can get your own unique ending based on that, but it's more focused on the characters, character development, and making them feel like actual people.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I don't know much about the Sakura Wars series. I remember just seeing some odd tweets about it here and there, and it did seem to be the talk of the town for that community. But yeah, I don't really know much about it.
That's why I said it was really overlooked, and it's a shame that it got overlooked because it's such a good title. It probably would have been overlooked if the other Sakura War titles, aside from the fourth one, had been brought to the West as well. But because this is pretty much the brand new start for people in the West. As I said, it's called Sakura Wars PS4, but in Japan it's called Shin Sakura Taisen, or New Sakura Wars. It is a soft reboot for anyone who had not played the old ones. And the gameplay of it, instead of it being turn-based strategy, it's actually an action game. So you actually have normal action combat in it. You can switch between a couple units, so on and so forth, get special attacks. Your standard stuff. As I said, the gameplay itself, if I was going to make a game of the year based purely off gameplay, I would have gone with Spelunky 2. But it's just the storytelling, the character development, and all of that really stuck with me. And I mean, like I'm fairly certain you've seen at least a little bit of my playthrough of it over on YouTube and stuff like that. I had a rule to where whenever I was doing it on Twitch, live streaming it, that when the cutscene came in, I was not going to talk. It didn't matter how much chat wanted me to talk to them. No, I was invested. I was not talking to chat until the cutscene was over.
Yeah, I don't remember that. Yeah, no, you had some real dedication to that game.
Man,
yeah, it's just.
I kind of agree with your point that you made there. Like, I won't talk about this for much, but in terms of the gameplay, my number 2, Phoenotopia, was probably the better. The game that I had more fun with the gameplay, but because of the way the characters and the story kind of came together in Ori, complemented with the gameplay, that's what elevated it to number 1 for me. So I can totally see where you're coming from there.
Yeah, and the new Sakura Wars also has a slammin' soundtrack. If you have not listened to it, you need to. I mean, one of the tunes from it, called Woman Spirit of the Festival, that one right there, the drums in it will make you start tapping along. You will be going around with the beat.
Right on.
Yeah, Sakura Wars is Sega, right?
Yeah, it is Sega's. I want to say it's Sega's most popular franchise over in Japan, actually.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever played a Sega game that's had a bad sound. I can't talk. Persona's now, or Atlas now owned by Sega. Atlas always had great music. The Yakuza series were really good tunes. Sonic has always been known for its music. Jet Set Radio was Space Channel 5? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, Space Channel 5.
Super Monkey Ball. Sega routinely... F-Zero GX was actually co-made by Sega.
Yes, it was.
And the soundtrack for GX, like Sega, if there's one thing that Sega always delivers on, it's the music. And I have never played a Sega game with bad music.
Agreed. I mean, all Sega games are just great when it comes to the musical stuff, but it's just, as I said, for me, Sakura Wars PS4 specifically, it is by far my game of the year just because character development, the story doesn't matter how standard run-of-the-mill anime it could be, it was just the stage for the characters, and the characters made it shine. The voice acting is top-notch, and it's so good. If you haven't tried it, check out the first video I did on it and then decide if you want to give it a shot. That way you at least know what you're getting into.
This is somewhat off topic, but you said you haven't played a Sega game with a bad soundtrack. Never play Sonic Chronicles The Dark Brotherhood. Oh, God. That is the one Sega game that has a horrible soundtrack.
Sega only published. That was BioWare. We blame them.
Oh, was it? Okay,
wait,
never mind.
BioWare? Like the people that did like Mass Effect and Anthem?
Yes, exactly. It was BioWare.
No. You cannot tell me that BioWare made a Sonic game.
Search it up. Right now.
There's no way.
Search it up right now.
There's no way.
Do it. No, you search it up right now. You will drop your jaw will drop in awe. BioWare made Sonic Chronicles: The Dark Brotherhood.
See, but I heard Sonic Chronicles and the Dark Brotherhood was good.
No, it's not.
Oh,
not good. He is right. It is BioWare. I actually didn't know that, but he is right.
it is by. Oh my gosh, that explains it now. Oh no.
Yeah.
That is cursed
Yeah.
knowledge. Yo, everyone in the comment section, leave a comment if y'all didn't know that the makers of Anthem made a Sonic game. Yo, comment in the section down below if y'all knew that, because I sure as hell did not. Oh my gosh, that is... And I've never listened to the soundtrack of... Okay, let me phrase that, Hayden. I did say I had never played one. I've never played this game, and you said don't play this game, so I probably won't play this game.
It's not even a good game either, but like...
Isn't it like a JRPG almost? Like it's like a...
It's an RPG, yeah.
Isn't it almost
It's hot
akin...
trash. That's what it is.
Isn't it akin to something like Mario and Luigi?
Not really, no. I don't even...
The best thing I can compare it to is working in the sewers. You don't like it, you don't want to do it, you're not even going to do it if you can quit, and just ignore it. You don't want to deal with it.
Wait, so now, Rabbit, this is going to be a hard question for you, but would you say this game is worse than Sonic and the Secret Rings?
I would say it's worse than Sonic and the Secret Rings and Sonic 06 combined.
Oh my gosh. Oh geez, the Mad Lad said it. Oh dang. I'm sorry to anyone in the comment section that likes Sonic Chronicles and the Dark Brotherhood. I'm sorry. Oh my god.
I know a lot of people liked it when it first came out, but if they go back and play it now, they will go, "Oh my god, what was I thinking?"
All right, I'm gonna put that on the avoid list. All right, cool. BioWare. Sorry guys. Damn. All right. All right. Was that basically everything you wanted to say about your game of the year, Rabbit?
Yeah, though, to finish off stuff about Sonic Dark Chronicles, I would not be surprised if the team that made that was the same team that made Andromeda and Anthem.
Oh my gosh, Rabbit's calling people out.
And I do mean that exact subdivision.
And hopefully not the people that are managing the Mass Effect Trilogy remaster. Well, I mean, you can't really mess up a remaster, or can you?
Oh, you can. The Secret of
You
Mana.
can.
The Secret of Mana remaster was.
Oh, what? Not good.
That was something.
And you know, not to talk about Mario 3D All-Stars in a bad way, but I really don't like the ports of 64 and Sunshine on them. So actually, I guess it is possible to ruin a remaster. All right. I will now get into my game of the year for 2020, the moment you have all been waiting for. I mentioned this over on Shadow Elite's podcast, the HPMP. You can find over on his channel, link in the description to that. I mentioned this over, and people were... Shadow said, "No one can take this from you, Blake," but I'm just disappointed. So my game of the year for the year 2020 is it's a remake / remaster. It's one that I never saw coming. It's something that in all of my years I would have bet my life, I would have bet my house, I would have bet the keys to my car and the love of my life that we would never get a remake for this game. And Rabbit guessed it. It's Battle for Bikini Bottom, SpongeBob SquarePants.
Oh,
Now, okay. I'll let y'all inject in a little bit here. Now, let me just get into this real quick. So, growing up, Emmett was a huge SpongeBob fan. I still am. SpongeBob is probably the single most quotable thing that I've ever watched in my entire life. I make a SpongeBob reference at least 3 or 4 times a day. It is impossible for me to go a day without talking about SpongeBob. This series changed my life, impacted my childhood more so than Sonic did as a kid, and that's saying something if you know me. And when I played Battle for Bikini Bottom growing up, it was like take Mario Sunshine, take like Jak and Daxter, throw a SpongeBob skin on it, throw some catchy music in there from the cartoon, and call it a day. Oh my gosh, guys! Let me tell you how there are videos on my channel. I think they're still my most viewed videos of me talking about Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated and like reacting to it, talking about it, breaking down the trailers, doing discussions about it. All of that content for that game is still the highest viewed stuff on my channel. I remember one day I gained something like 130 subscribers in one day because I uploaded a video on Battle for Bikini Bottom. So not only do I love this game from a nostalgia standpoint, I also love this game because it also helped grow my channel a whole lot. This game is very easily my game of the year. A remake, a remaster slash that I never saw coming. It does literally everything right. I had not a single gripe. Well, if I had to nitpick one thing, it'd be that the multiplayer mode is tacked on, forced, and in general not fun to play. But honestly, I played it once and never again. The main story is still great. They remade it in Unreal Engine 4, and all the graphics, like, you can play this in 4K. It is, like, the grass physics, I think there's a ray tracing mod on the PC version of the game. Like, this is SpongeBob, ladies and gentlemen. Did y'all ever think in the year 2020 we'd have SpongeBob with ray tracing? I know I didn't. And it's for that reason, it is my game of the year, hands down. If you guys haven't played it yet, you can be 14, you can be 44. If you like SpongeBob and you like collectathon platformers, give Battle for Bikini Bottom a shake. It will not disappoint you. That game does not miss. It is my game of the year, and it was by far the game that brought me the most joy this year. I absolutely loved it, and I will let you guys say whatever it is you want to say now.
Hey man, that's a hell of a choice right there, and I'll stand with you there. That SpongeBob is probably the thing I quote the most. The first 3 seasons of that show are just gold. Like, they have not aged at all. Amongst my friend group too, like, we quote it all the time. We love it, and I played a fair amount of SpongeBob games growing up. Battle for Bikini Bottom must be the only one I didn't play. Like, I don't know how I missed it, because it very much did have a cult following. And this remake, like you said, I don't think anyone saw this coming. And yeah, so it's just another one of those things that kind of slipped through the cracks for me this year. But I am very, very interested to play it, especially because, again, didn't play the original, but I did play quite a few other SpongeBob games. Revenge of the Flying Dutchman, the SpongeBob SquarePants movie tie-in games. Yeah, so I do want to play this game, but just haven't had the time. So, hell of a choice, man. I respect it.
The only other game that would absolutely blow my mind for being remade from that era, I don't know if any of you guys played Battle for Volcano Island growing up, but it was like that Nickelodeon crossover game that was like, it was almost like a Diablo, like it was like a top-down action game, but it had like characters from like SpongeBob, like Danny Phantom, Jimmy Neutron, Fairly Odd Parents. Like, it was one of those games, and I don't know if it's one of those games where it's because I was a kid I fell in love with it, or because it was genuinely good. That's one of those games where I'm curious to like emulate and see if it still holds up to me. But Hayden, I will literally pay you to play Battle for Bikini Bottom. I listen, man. Like, it's name your platform, bro. I'm gonna slide it to you for Christmas. I had you on Steam and you PC games, I buy it for you right now during this recording. Game is like, the game launched at $30. Like, it has never been more expensive than that, and that boggles my mind. I'm like, $30. That's insane. Originally, I had the fun edition of the game pre-ordered, and it was like $360 Canadian, and I had that fully paid off. But because of COVID and I got laid off, I ended up having to cancel that so I could essentially pay my bills while
I remember that
while my store was closed. So unfortunately, I did have to cancel it, and then we never ended up getting it in. But I think it's better in hindsight, because if I had come home with a $360 SpongeBob Collection Edition, my parents would have kicked me out. And my girlfriend might have left me. So, hey, it's probably for the best. If I can find one of those in the wild, though, I'm going to snag it. But overall, no, that game of the year, top tier game. If you guys haven't played it, let me know. I'm not buying the game for everyone, but if I like you enough, I might buy you the game. It's, oh my gosh, it is. I own it on every platform aside from Xbox. No, I don't have it on Switch either. Do I only have it on? I have it on Steam, and then a friend of mine lent me their PS4 version. I never gave it back.
You heard it here first, folks. He steals games.
Hey, listen. He wasn't playing it. He said he just couldn't get into it, and I said, okay, you don't deserve it. You can't have it. So I took it from him. But, it's on everything. I think the Switch version, fair warning, Hayden, if you were planning to pick up the Switch version, I think the Switch version has a number of bugs, and it runs at 30 frames 720p, so it's by far the most inferior way to play it. And honestly, if you have a way to play it like on a PlayStation or like an Xbox or a PC, I'd recommend any other version beside the Switch. But the Switch port, I think they got some patches out to kind of stabilize it a little bit. I just know that the Switch version had a few bugs to anyone looking to pick it up as well.
That's good to know. By the way, I'm telling Nintendo on you because you steal games.
I think it's time for some outros. All right, everyone. Was there anything else you guys wanted to add before we went ahead and ended it for today?
Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity is a good game.
And Hayden's canceled. All right, Shadow, was there anything else anything else you wanted to say for tonight about how much you love Yakuza Like a Dragon? All right, I'll take your silence as consent. Perfect. So, Rabbit, was there anything else you wanted to add for today?
Really, the only thing I can add on to this is just I want to say thanks for having me on. I appreciate you let me come here and talk about my personal favorite games of this year. It's been a fun time.
Anytime, man, anytime. Yeah, we've been going for an hour and a half. We were actually going to do top 5, but we decided to narrow it down to top 3. If we had done top 5, I think we would have been here for an extra 2 hours. But, you know, we had some healthy conversation today. A big thank you to everyone for coming out. We're going to go ahead and do some outros now. So, Hayden, where can they find you at?
So first of all, thank you as well for having me on. I used to do a whole lot of YouTube stuff. My work life got really crazy a little over a year ago, so I don't do much there. But you can find me on YouTube at HaydenA if you want to watch me. I have some pretty iconic reactions, I guess you could say, including my Smash Ultimate reveal reaction, which when it was still just Super Smash Brothers for Nintendo Switch, where I actually broke my microphone. So you can check that out.
Oh, definitely.
Otherwise...
Hayden's, not to cut you off there, buddy. Hayden's reactions are actually how I found him. His reactions are very genuine. I forgot which reaction it was. That he got a little teary-eyed, but I felt that, bro, and I got teary-eyed with you, and I was like, dude, what the hell's happening, man? This is crazy.
I cried over King K. Rool's reveal trailer because that was my dream character. But the World of Light.
Yes, World of Light.
That one definitely got me pretty hard. But yeah, otherwise you can find me on Twitter, just HaydenA on Twitter, and I post a lot there, whether it's memes or thoughts on gaming or little else. So yeah.
Awesome, man. Thank you for joining us as always. And Mr. JRPG Shadow Elite, where can they find you at, my guy?
For now, you can find me at ShadowEliteHD on YouTube. I talk about various JRPGs. Soon we're going to be doing a whole rebranding of the channel. Next video coming out will be a whole lineup of JRPGs coming. There's about 30 that I got on this list, and I'm not looking forward to editing that video, but it's going to come out soon. So, look forward to that.
Awesome. And Rabbit, where can they find you at these days?
You can find me at youtube.com, rabbit Sensei Gaming. Or if you want to catch my live streams, I'm at Rabbit Sensei VT over on Twitch.
Awesome. And of course, links to their Twitters, not Facebook.
MySpace? You don't use Facebook?
Oh, that's my bad. Links to their YouTubes, Twitters, and Twitch accounts will be in the description down below. Seriously, guys, go check out Hayden's YouTube. He does great. Some of his old reactions, great reactions. Always tune in to Shadow Elite's HPMP podcast. It's tentatively every other Sunday. I think we're done for this year, but whenever we do get an episode out of those, it's always a fun time if you guys like JRPGs and gaming news in general. And Rabbit's also a VTuber, so if you guys like that sort of idea, definitely follow him over on Twitch. He does great content there. He's always streaming his reruns, and he's always doing collabs with other people. It's really fun times all around. And of course, you guys know where you can find me. You're already on my channel, WestTownHD. If you guys like this kind of content, you want to see more, hit that like button for your boys. Hit that subscribe as well. And leave a comment down below letting us know, of course, what your top 3 games this year were, what your runners-up were, what your highs and lows of the years was, and anything else. But without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get up out of here. This has been your boy WestTownHD, Hayden, Mr. JRPG, and Rabbit Sensei Gaming. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Deuces!
Bye!
Peace!
See ya!